Wow, good morning, gentlemen.
Amazing. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Heiko hasn't said anything yet, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm in the same room, Morten, so can you hear me too?
I hear you too, and it's so nice to see you guys again. I've not seen you before, I think, Sander, but Heiko, you have way better quality than last time we tried to do something over the internet. So I'm looking very much forward to your presentation today. I think actually I'm a big fan of your technologies. I must admit that. I know that the press is supposed to be unbiased, but sometimes you also have to express your love for the products you love, right?
Yeah, thank you for that. That's always good, Morten.
So how are you guys? You are in Holland?
Yeah, so based in the Netherlands, we are here in the Customer Experience Center of Canon Production Printing. And yeah, it's very nice here. It's good. Life is okay.
And how is the things with the corona in the Netherlands?
If you look at the current situation we have here, it's we call it intelligent lockdown. And what that
intelligent lockdown. Okay, yeah.
That means is that slowly things are picking up, and only the things that we think are, let's say, we can control the virus by doing that. That is happening at this moment. So some of the, let's say, public life has changed. Schools will be different. Working will be different. We have a distance in the Netherlands of 1.5 meters to each other. That's also why you see me and Heiko in two cameras.
Yeah, because if we do it like this, Morten.
Oh, you are actually separated. Oh, okay, you're in the same room, but okay.
1.5 meters.
1.5 meters.
You know what I can't help find a little bit funny is because I think it was last week the restaurants opened in Denmark, and then the security distance was limited from 2 meters from nose to nose to 1 meter per nose. But apparently the noses in the Netherlands are bigger, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We also catch larger fishes, so yeah, that's how it works.
Well,
okay,
great to see you. We have like well, people logging in. We have a little time to talk about, you know, chit-chatting before you are going to present your Inkjet presentation. And have you seen any of the sessions we've done the other days?
Yeah.
Did you find anything particularly interesting? I mean, I can tell you just from a statistics perspective, I will provide you numbers during next week, but Monday was apparently the best day, and that was almost 500 people were attending our webinars, which is like the first time we ever do this, so we were pretty proud of this, of course. And then
you should get an award for that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay, we get the 500 award, but then the other days have not been as good because they fall a little bit. Yesterday was pretty good too. We got like almost 200 yesterday. And I think that yesterday was the day where the technical side of things worked the best because people, you know, started to understand how to use the platforms and that. And I also think the content yesterday was really interesting to listen to. I think all the presentations been great. I was, of course, that when I looked at Tuesday, where we talked about legislation in Europe and environmental programs, or maybe that was not the most important thing for people, but I think it was still good to hear because it's part of our daily life. So it's been really fun to do this, and we have got appetite for doing more of these kind of events too. So that is really good. And I think that the last time we spoke, Heiko, that was about, of course, your launch of the new IX series. Have you been able to roll anything out in that time? I mean, because when we spoke, you said there was a great interest for the new things, but everything is mostly under lockdown. So I was just wondering, have you progressed in any ways with your presentations and getting people to an interest in the machine?
Yeah, definitely, and we have really chosen there for a very specific approach here that we said 1st of April. Yeah, the world is in a lockdown situation, but yeah, innovation should not go in a lockdown. So we really decided to announce the new product on the 1st of April. But we did it in such a way that we were not shouting it out with a lot of colorful communication, because of course we wanted to take care of the situation that the world was in.
Of course.
So that was the first step. Second step was that we in the one-to-one sessions with customers we just continued with the use of Zoom and Skype and Teams. We think we do well 4, 5, 6 sessions per day here with European customers.
That's quite a lot.
So that continues, and that also proves that the customers have the need to continue with looking at innovation and trying to prepare also for the new situation. So that is what we did in the last 5, 6 weeks. As you know, we are right now installing the first machine worldwide here at a commercial printing company in the Netherlands. That also gives a lot of energy, and we also make use of that, of course, to make some use of exposure regarding this installation.
Is it up and running now, or is it still under installation?
Well, actually, beginning of this week, they were eating fly, we say in the Netherlands. So that's cake, because the complete hardware installation had been finished. But as you can imagine, hardware is one, and then workflow and software and color management and fine-tuning is the second step. That's actually the step that we are in right now. So we expect the press. The press was already printing yesterday. But I think it will be up and running in 2 weeks from now, that the customer can also start the first commercial productions.
I was just about to say that the one thing is the installation of the machine, and then it takes a lifetime to make all the workflow and everything perfect, right?
Yeah. I don't hope it's a lifetime, but at least it will take 2 weeks.
I didn't say it before it started to print, but every time I hear about Toon was given from InFocus was given an excellent presentation of how to see workflow more in generic boxes, right? And I just think that every time we find something, you get new ideas for new things, right? So that is why I was thinking that maybe workflow never stops, right? Well, gentlemen, it's about time. I would like you to take over and do the presentation. Do you know the software now, or did you try it out before Okay, so you are good to go.
Let's see if it works out.
And then after we have seen your presentation, then we have a time for some questions and comments, and I hope it will be fun. So I look forward to see your presentation. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
good. Let's start.
So I'm now sharing my screen.
It looks perfect. So thank you very much.
Perfect. Very good. So Heiko, you take away, please.
Yeah, before we start with the content of the presentation, Morten, we would like to show you one slide, and that's the slide where we actually want to say not only thank you to you, but we also want to give you an innovation award for the whole initiative that you have been exploring in the last days and weeks. It's not only for you; it's also for your team, Henrik and Andrea.
Can you see my arm? I get goosebumps now. It's such a surprise and such an honor. So I didn't want to interfere in your presentation, but when I see my not so pretty face on the screen and this nice award, I really thank you guys.
Yeah. No, and I think that's as I said, also for your team and everybody who worked on it, creating a learning and discussion platform for the printing industry. I know what you've been doing in such a short time frame to make this happen, from a content point of view, but also from a technology point of view. And I think I didn't check it with all the partners that are here on the slide, but I'm pretty sure that everybody agrees with this award. And I think well deserved for you, Morten, and the whole team behind. Congratulations with that. And now let's start with the content of the Inkjet presentation.
Thank you very much.
So maybe Heiko, a quick introduction from your side, who you are, what you do.
Yeah, Heiko van Gaal, European Director for the sheet fed presses business within Canon Europe, and with the whole team responsible for, and together with all the countries in Europe and the colleagues in the countries, to make the sheet fed inkjet business from a Canon perspective a commercial success.
Very good. My name is Sander Hendricks. I'm Business Development Manager within the European, Middle East and Africa organization. That means helping prospects and customers to develop their printing business. I have a background in inkjet technology since 23 years now in different roles. It started out with a small proofing device called the DRUPA digital pummeling. So I was mixing inks for that in research and development, and via several roles always have been active in the graphic arts industry. So it's great also that inkjet technology is still around. And also, if you look at our presentation of today, you can see a lot of steps and a lot of changes have been made. So if you look at the presentation for today, the outline, we talked a little bit about the introductions and the award that we handed out. I want to show you some of the printing technologies just highlighted and how they have evolved in time. Something about the inkjet triangle. When we are developing a product that has inkjet technology, what kind of elements and contributes do we need to take into account? A small journey of the developments of the company I know best, in this case Canon. So to show you how that works out, and a summary wrap up. So let's see how we progress. I cannot see any questions or interaction, so I will just do the presentation, and if there are then questions and answers, let's do them afterwards. I think that's easiest. Somebody, for example, in the chat would ask some things. Okay. If you look at the timeline from DRUPA 2008 till now, DRUPA 2008, 12 years ago, DRUPA was called the Inkjet DRUPA. That's also why I've taken this time to talk to you about. We have seen that in the last decades, print production has gone through a huge transformation. A lot of changes were happening. Think about shorter print runs, think about faster delivery times. These are typical trends in the markets that we see at this moment in time. And we see that each new print technology is key in enabling these disruptions to make sure that these transformations can take place. And if you look at 3 print technologies that we have in, let's say, established print technologies we have in our industry, and you look at their development between DRUPA 2008 and now, you can see on the right-hand side, I have posted an innovation S-curve where you can see, okay, where, in which phase is the development of this product? How does this product work? Is it already at its limits or not? You can see if you're at the beginning of the curve, you're pioneering. You are developing the first printers. You see what's going on, but not everything works like expected. Then you are overcoming all kinds of technical obstacles. It becomes a real production press, a printing product. Then you are sustaining mastery over technology. And the idea behind that is that your product becomes more and more adult for more different markets, for example. But you also can see at a certain moment in time, technology is approaching its physical limits. You have it, it's done. Every change you make are small steps. Those are not unimportant steps, they are very important steps for the industry, but the steps are smaller. And that also is when you have huge transformations in the market, then new developments will be easier to adapt to these changes. If you look, for example, at offset technology, from 2008 till now, 12 years, you can now see that the whole process up to the printing plate is fully digital. We see that all presses are able to do automated press setups. If you would buy now a new offset press, at this moment in time, you would have an automated press setup. This saves a lot of time and also a lot of hassle and reduces mistakes. Job setup times, typically 30 minutes to 3 minutes. Again, this does not say that everybody is doing their job change in 3 minutes, but the newest hardware is capable in doing this. Organizations that are investing into this type of equipment automatically are benefiting from this. Startup waste reduced from a few hundred to a handful of sheets. Automated quality control while running. Ink adjustments, color measurements. Speed increases reach more than 18,000 sheets per hour. Think about the UV inks, a recent trend in the market, but also the development in very large sheet presses. You also see now that some changes are happening in the market there, but very large sheet presses actually is one of those elements where you want to print as much as possible onto one, being as efficient as possible in a way. And that is how Offset is trying to handle that. If you look at this innovation S-curve, I would say offset technology from 2008 till now is in that upper element. The technology is approaching its physical limits. There are changes still happening. Again, as said, that is not bad. This is good because it is a mature technology and it is a proven technology and it's still in the market. And we can learn as an also manufacturer, learn a lot from this. So that is offset technology. If you look at electrophotography or toner technology, you can see in the last years, also DRUPA 2008 till now, you see that more and more special colors and varnishing options are coming in. Think about bright pinks, fluorescent colors, gold, silver, varnish, spot varnish. These are elements that have now brought into this technology. The speed of the printers are increasing, but those are not huge steps. We call that the speed creep. That means we get some steps. Speed is increasing, but it's not going huge. It looks also a little bit up to, let's say, the mechanical limits there and the physical limits to go a lot faster there. Additional quality control has been added into the mix. The transformation to smaller devices is a very important one, where you have seen, in, let's say, in 2008, the production print market was dominated by very big, heavy metal. You can see in this market, there are also more and more production devices which are smaller, more capable in handling this. So that is a big transformation there as well. You also see the trend in printing larger sheet sizes. That could be for example, banners or book covers that are wrappers around books. Or for example, if you move to B2 paper sizes, that is also a few of the vendors are doing that. So in a way, those are typical trends. If you look at the innovation S-curve, at the, again, right top side, you can see, we are approaching its physical limits, I would say. That is still good products, have the position in the market, have a good fit for what they do and how they work. So in a way, a lot of things has happened. I would take them there on the curve. If you look at the next one, inkjet production printing, I think the journey has been longer and more transformation has happened. I will go into more detail with it, but we can see now that now we are matching industry standards. Think about EDA Alliance, FOGRA standard, but also, for example, the DEPA standard for automotive industry. Those are typical things which are now possible. You can see that print quality has improved. The color gamut has increased, also larger than, for example, standard offset coated color gamuts. That is now possible with a number of devices. Increased number of media types possible per device. You also see an increased media range. And you see the expansion number of different applications. So you can see there that is a big change. Also, you can see a lot of new markets being entered. So if you look at that innovation curve, I think we have made very big steps in the last 12 years. Now, to highlight a little bit, how would that then look at different product types? We have created this timeline. This is the Canon Inkjet evolution, and for the people on abbreviations, HSI means high-speed inkjet, and high-speed inkjet. So in DRUPA 2008, we started out with the Jetstream series. At DRUPA, it's one of the first big production presses running 600 by 600 dots per inch heads with dye inks. We also had micro inks for security printing. And every year we were coming up with a new product or a new solution. And what I've done in this timeline, I've tried to plot this evolution with the different major changes, I would say, regarding the evolution. So, for example, in 2010 we introduced the ColorStream 3500 series. We added pigment ink to it. Pigment ink. I have a picture illustrating what will happen with that. Pigment ink means more colorant on top, more colorant in itself, so that means a better print quality, a more vibrant image. In 2013, we were adding additional inks also to the ColorStream. We have the Jetstream 550-500. We added premium pigment inks. The image stream in 2014 was a device for printing on offset-coated papers. So again, better print quality, offset-coated papers was another major step important in this evolution. And so it's the resolution, it's the ink, it's the ability to print on different papers. And in 2015, we had 3 platforms: the ColorStream platform, the ImageStream platform, and the VarioPrint I-Series platform. At that time, we came out with the i300. And a neat technology we added there was ColorGrip. And I will have later on a specific slide talking about what ColorGrip actually is doing. So in 2016, we added Chromaera inks into the ColorStream 6000 series, another evolution. And in 2018, we came out with the ProStream 1000 and the VarioPrint i200. The ability there to print with the ProStream on 1200 by 1200 dpi. We had also the ColorGrip that we used in the VarioPrint I-Series platform. Added to it, we added flotation drying into the mix to make sure to print on a wide variety of different media types, including offset coated. And now this year, 2020, we have the ProStream 1000, and also, that is also where you had a session with Heiko and Jutta on the VarioPrint iX series, 1200 by 1200 dpi, ColorGrip, but there we added a new technology called post-fixation drying. So this is the timeline of Canon production printing. And of course, every other manufacturer will have a similar timeline, but since I know our Canon products best, I use this one to illustrate the different steps we have in our industry. Resolution, different types of ink, the ability to handle offset-coated papers, adding ingredients or innovations like ColorGrip into the mix, and that all together is making sure we are now at the place where we are now with this development. Now, if you look at the development that we are doing with an inkjet technology, we have 3 major dependencies. And they are working together, and it's a balance that needs to take place. If you change one, the other 2 will be influenced. So that's the ink, that's the print process, and the paper or the media. Now, for ink, typical elements are viscosity, the wetting of the ink, the layer thickness, the drying behavior, what type of colorants am I using inside. For the print process, it's about the speed, which type of printhead and how many nozzles does it have, and exactly how big are those nozzles, determining the drop size, how stable is the head, how stable can you get the head, do I need to replace it a lot, or can it stay here for a longer time? All technology choices the vendors or manufacturers need to make. The pre-treatment, how to work with that, do I need it, where it is applied for, how do I apply it, the drying, a very important part. From a paper perspective, it's about which kind of coating does the paper have. There are a lot of different paper types. You can see also in paper the evolution, where we started out, for example, in Inkjet technology with special Inkjet treated papers. But now you see the move in handling that all these new systems are able to handle more commodity, commercial print, offset, uncoated and offset coated stocks. So in that way, that is the balance that we are trying to get. And as said, if we change one, it has impact on the other two. That's why it's very good that, at least from my perspective within Canon, we have full control over the ink, since we are manufacturing and developing them themselves, but also about the print process. And that together makes sure that together with the relationship we have with paper vendors, we actually have the ability to make these steps in that innovation. Now, I will take out one element of this, and that is COLORGRIP. COLORGRIP is a conditioning liquid, and you also hear in the industry and also maybe at home when you do painting a word called primer, and basically that is that substance. Because what does it do? It makes sure that those pigments are pinned to the surface of the paper. It prevents pigments to be absorbed into uncoated papers. It also prevents pigments to start moving around and bleeding on coated materials. Imagine that you are, for example, every Saturday you're waxing your car. And when you have waxed your car, and the hood of your car is very smooth, and you have then two water droplets going down that hood of the car. They are coming closer to each other, and at a certain moment in time, they join into one big dot. Now, basically, that is a nice effect that then happens because the surface of that hood is so smooth that those droplets in itself have more energy to join. And the cool thing with that is that, of course, is a very nice, let's say, physical phenomena. But in printing, that is an undesired phenomenon, because what happens with those two droplets, they're joining and they become one bigger droplet. So you get all kind of different print quality artifacts or defects. And so what we try to do is make sure that when those two droplets fall onto the hood of the car, they stay at their position and don't start moving around and joining into bigger blobs. So that is very important. That is what we don't want, because if they are joining, you can see the image quality defects in this picture. You see on the left-hand side of this traditional Volkswagen, you see a very grainy Volkswagen. You see at the bottom, you see cyan merging into yellow. So that is a phenomena we call feathering or intercolor bleed. So at that moment in time, they join together. And of course, if it would be the same ink, there is not an issue. But again, with two colors, you can get these artifacts. So very important. What you also see is that if you apply it image-based, you can also try to steer with the amount and the type where you put it. So those are very positive things we have developed. And again, that is learning we have gotten from all the steps we have done in our development, looking at the market and the requirements. And this is one example of that. So what are the benefits? It optimizes print quality for standard uncoated and also offset coated papers. It eliminates print artifacts like color bleed and on coated materials, and it will give you a premium print quality on commodity paper stock. This is one of those highlights of the different technologies. There are more technologies inside, But then I would say let's then have a normal presentation or demonstration for a longer time. This is just one of the technologies that I wanted to highlight. So wrap up and summary. So we talked about the trends in the printing market, tighter delivery times, expansion of applications, decrease of run lengths, bringing on the need or the requirement, new technologies to adapt and technologies to appear, and also to move into this market. Inkjet technology, with its proven productivity and low TCO, together with the print quality and application fit, is now rivaling other print technologies, is actually a very good match. So from our perspective, here at Canon Production Printing, but this also applies to every other manufacturer in the market, is that inkjet technology is for us an important technology for the future, and also an important technology for the printing market. So that is the end of my short presentation we made together here with the team. Are there any questions?
Yeah, we don't have any questions from the chat, but I have some questions. So let's see you. Yeah, I think we just end so now we are back here, so we can see, especially Sander, you have been the busy one today, right? You have been. I think it was a.
You will now have a lot of questions for Heiko, I believe, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, because some of the recurring questions I always have when I look at technology, because this is, in my opinion, this is a really, really great presentation, because you also give, I think that the audience will understand that the technology developments and the challenges that you have is it moves forward and becomes better. And that reverts me to some of the things that we spoke about, Heiko, in the Skype session, is that the higher quality, the faster machines, and the ability to print on so many different stocks, that essentially gives you a much wider potential market to address, right?
Yeah, I think that's what Sander also mentioned in the wrap-up. If you look at the core strengths of Inkjet as a technology, also at DRUPA 2008, that is about massive productivity and uptime, and on the other hand, also the economics. So the total cost of ownership way of working in Inkjet. That was already 12 years ago a fact. What has happened in the last years is that we had to keep these strengths, of course, but we needed these strengths to be applicable in a wider marketplace, not only in transactional printing, not only in book printing or manual printing, but in a wider market. And I think the picture that Sander showed also about the evolution or the development in our own portfolio, now with the ProStream and also with the new iX from our side, we are really targeting this commercial printing market. So that's a much wider market we can address. There's also a wider range of other technologies available in that market. Some of the technologies that Sander also showed in his presentation, and that's exactly what we are heading for right now. And that we strongly believe that there's even a kind of revolution coming up in that part of the market. Yeah.
I can't help thinking that when you look at the quality and you look at the technologies and you see things, we often refer to DRUPA as the timeline for the major developments, as you also did, Sanders. And I was just wondering, because I can't help thinking of that, both the last DRUPA and the DRUPA before, when Benny Lander was presenting the nanography technology. I remember when I saw the presentation last DRUPA, he said that who dares to invest in inkjet technology when nanography is just around the corner? And I think that might be a Damocles sword, because that has pushed the envelope on inkjet even further, right? Because I mean, if you look at what you are not just saying you will deliver, but you are actually delivering, is really, really high quality, fast machines that still have, like, if you look at the S curve, you still believe that you have way more ahead of you as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you see now is that we are trying to master the different market segments, what Heiko just said. But imagine there are a lot of different other ones where we also are making our steps. Think about a product on our side in the label industry, in the packaging industry, called the label stream. So in packaging itself, there is a lot of things that needs to be discovered, developed. So we are not there yet, and that's the neat thing of doing that. Coming back also to your comment on nanography as an example. In the end, what is driving this nanography is inkjet technology. So it has a different printing process in the end. So it is inkjet in combination with indirect printing. But
Yes.
again, it's inkjet technology driving it. So I think the statement would be more is look at your requirements that you have as a printing company, look forward. What would I like to achieve in 2, 3, 4, or 5 years? And then find the technology that will fit in this transformation that you're going to make.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And the reason I was mentioning this was basically, and the reason why I said Damocles sword is basically that I think that every manufacturer in the market, of course, develops depending on where they see the market moves. So when you see like mass customization, when you see shorter print runs, you need faster turnaround times, and all the measures for how a printing company has been successful today. Obviously, every vendor will start developing in that so they can supply to the market, so you can make some money on it. And so that was more like a conclusion that you can't really say that that the technology that you present is the best in the market. You have to see what you can deliver according to the customer's needs, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I fully agree with that.
Yeah, and that leads me to a question, because I think that one of the things that I wouldn't say that I am concerned about, but some of the things that I am wondering on behalf of the of the printing companies without being their voice, but I'm trying anyway. I was just wondering if we look into let's say that you're a commercial printer and you're looking to make an investment in digital. What kind of how should you figure out what supplier to choose and what equipment fits your needs best? Do you have any suggestions on how to do that?
Yeah, so a very good question, because in the end, that is basically the discussion that you need to have, because you need to first find out where you are. Where are you with your company? What is your company doing at this moment in time? What are my customers doing, or what is my market doing? Where do we want to be in 5 years? So you have to start with a sort of self-assessment. Say, okay, this and this is going on. I see this is my main type of applications that I'm running. These are my main drivers in the market. These are my main customers. This is what I see what the market is doing. And based on that direction that you're saying, then you have to look into, okay, you have to quantify things. What kind of papers do I use? What kind of media types do I need? What kind of technologies can I use in helping me with that? Think also about automation. We had a few sessions also on the workflow. The workflow at a customer is way bigger than only that software piece, because the workflow is the way of working. That is what the word means, the flow of working. And that means from the beginning that the order comes in, or actually that somebody makes the order, till the end that the customer receives the package. That flow needs to be analyzed. So I would really advise everybody who is thinking about, hey, I need to do something, but I don't know what. Analyze your flow. Analyze where it is. How many touch points do I have? What do I would like to achieve? Do I need to automate? If I need to automate, I need to do totally different things. Then I need to replace a printing press. But one does not exclude the other. So take a broad view. I would say sit down in the garden with your feet up, or use a hammock and lay in there. Start thinking about where you want to be in 5 years. Maybe in that hammock at an island. I don't know, but it also can be a direction, of course. No, so, and that is the most important thing. Start first looking at yourself, ask the right smart questions, but also look at your own company, your own operation, and there you can automatically see a lot of these, let's say, improvements, savings, changes you can apply.
Yeah, and then in the end, Martin, maybe it is not that complex in the end, because indeed, as Sander already stated, it starts with a business case and a strategy. Where do I want to go? In the end, you have to go also into a technology discussion. Earlier this week, I heard you saying that the technology is maybe not the most important thing. I agree. However,
Okay.
if you look at the position that we are now in the innovation S-curve, technology definitely is a very important element in this discussion. And typically, in the starting of such a innovation S-curve, you see that many manufacturers, many players want to play a role in that curve, want to earn money in that curve. However, if you look at the amount of investments that you have to do in order to really stay ahead there with your technology, and I think in the end there's only a handful of players which can play a dominant role in that curve, and in the end that also means for customers that they don't have to talk with 10 parties. I think.
No, that is of course true. Yeah, sorry, but I was, the reason why I'm asking this is because, if you let's say that you have a family-owned offset printing company. You have been used to have commercial print for many years, and you can see that order quantities are declining, and you can see that the scale of economy needs to change to some extent. I think that a lot of printers, they chose to go into the toner-based devices because it was like, okay, relatively inexpensive base investment. You could replace a certain number of jobs easily because that was. I think that a lot of print vendors have wanted to have mass customization and personalization and things like that. I think it's a few printing companies that actually uses the digital presses for what it was intended to be. So I'm just thinking that when you have equipment like the IX series, which is, I take it has a higher capital cost than most toner devices, then it's also a bigger investment because it's just subsidizing the smaller print run. It is also taking larger portion of what you would normally do on an offset press, and that is why I was thinking that the decisions and how you get to that point. I of course like your analytic way to ask people to go into that discussion and understanding, but to be honest, I think a lot of printers are not very good at it, and that's why sometimes they buy because that looks nice. Okay, it got dispersion varnish, I'll take that one as well. I'm kidding a little bit, but
I fully understand that, Morten, but that also is the place for us as manufacturers or as vendors to help out and to advise and to say, okay, this is the best solution for you. And so one of the things which is key in this, let's say in this phase we are in now, is that you get the correct advice, because it does not help if we are selling something and within a year the company does not work anymore, because then we also have issues.
Yeah.
The difference, I think, with production printing equipment is also that it is very important for the manufacturers, very important from a recurring revenue perspective. So that means if we install a system at somebody, we will be very happy if the system is running like expected or even better.
Yes.
For that same reason. So for us as an organization, I think that is key, and we have learned that a long time ago. So you can also see there are a lot of people out there who are actually consultative selling, let's put it like that. They're trying to analyze things, and sometimes those are difficult discussions. Have you made money in the last years? How much are you making, etc., etc. But there are everybody, and also everybody in our industry is looking at it like this, because it's not about just buying a small phone or something. It is a very important part of your operation and your future that you're investing to.
one question from Ali Jason Basuban from Print24/United Printers, because he has a point that we have also been talking to when we spoke to Printvis Monday about calculation of prices. Because as he says, I just read his comment. It's a little bit long, but I read it anyway. And I know that we're just about to run out of time, but that's okay. Hey guys, nice presentation. Thumbs up for that. We are an online printing company, and if we sell inkjet technology, we have no ability to talk to the customers before they place an order. Sometimes our vendors say that the file has too much color and it can't be covered with the price we agreed. But I cannot charge the customer afterwards. What do I tell the vendors? I can tell that the customers on the page, if you have a book with a lot of photos, don't buy, will be too expensive. I mean, I guess it's the ever recurring question about how you pay for things. Most toner-based printers are click-based, and most inkjet devices are based on consumption. So the ink coverage is a very important parameter in the pricing, right?
Yeah, and I think we can spend a 3-hour session on that next week. No, I think it's a very important topic.
If I get another award next week too, then you have 3 hours. I promise you.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's a really good question that you just raised. Calculations is important, especially if we go into this commercial printing market, and as a side effect of that, also in the online printing world, things have to be standardized. Things have to be put in a total workflow with automation, and also pricing is an important part of that. Yes, ink is an important element in the total cost of ownership. Like it's a difference with offset, for example, where ink is a much smaller part of the total cost of ownership. And let me put it that way, this is one of the things that we've been discussing a lot about in the last 1-2 years, because from a technology point of view, we think we are now there to be successful in the commercial printing space, but we cannot be successful without having also an appropriate commercial model to do that. There we have really some nice ideas now, and that's the things that we are discussing also now with our customers.
And as you can see, we got company from, I wouldn't say a competitor because he's from the software side of HP, but, and I also know it's not Tim Webster, as mentioned, because Tim had to do something else. And now we have Chris on board. So Canon, you have the opportunity to say hi to HP. Isn't that just a fantastic opportunity? That is the added bonus that we offer here, right?
Yeah, great. Yeah.
So Chris, let's just wrap up with the Canon guys, and then I look forward to talk to you in a second. Heiko and Sander, I think it was an amazing, great presentation. I think we had a very good conversations afterwards. I appreciate your time and your support, and I hope to see you live. We have never met in person, so I hope we will meet in person at some time when this damn virus is over.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Martin.
Okay,
Thanks.
Take care, and thank you very much, guys.
Okay. The next session. Bye-bye. Good luck.
Bye-bye. Bye. So Chris, you didn't get nice music introducing you, so we just got straight ahead directly into the presentations. And I am so sorry that Tim had to cancel and you were just thrown into to talk to me again. Poor you.
We'll hit the ground running, no doubt. Thank you.
Yeah. So how are you?
Extremely well, thank you.
Okay.
This is obviously interesting times for us, but we're moving forward. And the good news is that many of our customers are actually benefiting from an upsurge in a lot of volume. We're buying different stuff.
That's nice.
Yes. Yes. So it's very positive for some, but of course others are affected.
It's kind of funny. I don't know if you know that, but V-Press from the UK, they have this Crown bar every Tuesday and Thursday. And, you know, it was like, I think it was like, I have only attended one time. It's like a webinar kind of thing, which is very funny because it's more like free talking about subjects that are less controlled than this one, for example. I think it was in that session I heard that, you know, sometimes, you know, some companies are actually very successful during the Corona crisis, like packaging companies, label companies, obviously protection producers, right? And do you, I mean, The reason I'm dragging a little bit is because why shouldn't we celebrate the successes even though we also have a pandemic?
Indeed. I mean, as you know, Morten, my role is PSP Global Head of Sales at HP Solutions. So my job is to help print service providers around the world not only connect with customers and brands and print buyers, etc., in an automated way, but also to help them grow their business. So a number of them are actually adapting and thinking carefully about how they can shift away from more general commercial print and take advantage of some of the B2C work where it's more personalized, etc., that we as consumers are all now buying for our families.
And that points out a very good fact that if you are a company, you always have to adapt to the reality that we're in, right? I mean, so if you can't sell to this customer, you have to sell to somebody else, right?
Indeed. And look, let's face it, print service providers today are under huge amounts of pressure, whether it's COVID, whether it's margin erosion, order count increasing, moving towards B2C, run length shortening, downwards price pressure, headcount costs unfortunately remain the same. But the smart PSPs are really waking up. They've woken up, many of them, to the reality that things have got to change.
And that is one of the reasons why they should pay special attention to your presentation in a second, because that presentation is, I haven't seen it to be honest, but I know what it's about. And I think the great thing about what also you vendors seem to be luckily for the industry committed to is to also offer solutions to some of the problems that the market sees, right?
Yeah.
So I have a suggestion that it's just let's this is a pre-recorded film presenting HP Solutions and your stuff, and then afterwards let's take a chat and see if there's maybe some questions, or maybe I have some questions too, right? Should we do that?
Sure.
So let's mute and unmute and off with the photos, and then we can talk afterwards, okay?
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kirk Lewis, and with me is Pat Canfield, and we are part of the HP Solutions Group. And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about HP SiteFlow and how it can prepare your business for the future. Today we're going to have a bit of a role play where Pat's going to play the CEO of Fantastic Print, and I'm going to play the HP Solutions sales executive, walking through some common scenario and questions that print service providers have today, and how SiteFlow and the available tools of our solutions suite can assist. Along with that, we'll also talk a little bit about how to learn more about our SiteFlow solutions and where to and how to contact to learn more about that. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Pat Canfield. Pat, good morning.
Good morning. Hi. So I'm the CEO of Fantastic Print, and thank you for the opportunity to learn more about HP SiteFlow Pro. I'm a mid-sized general commercial printer that has a diverse range of products and services, and I pride myself on being able to provide, be nimble and be able to address a multitude of different customer situations. One of the most important concerns I have on a daily basis is how I can grow my top line revenue. And just as an example, I have a great opportunity to provide a short run medical signage to a customer, a new prospect, and they are looking for me to connect to their system in an automated way. Can you tell me what tools does SiteFlow have to help me connect to their web portal?
Oh, that's a great question, Pat, and definitely a lot of commonality there with some of our customers looking to break into this print-on-demand, short time frame, short turnaround time type of world. We have a number of applications available inside of our solutions suite, and inside of all of them are open APIs that become yours when you're part of our SiteFlow family. The APIs here are listed on our developer portal, where it allows you to take these as your own and bring them to your brands directly to do custom one-off integrations directly from their web-to-print platform directly into SiteFlow. But what also is a really nice thing as well is we've done a lot of that legwork for you as well. As if you looked at the majority of the web-to-print platforms out there, the common turnkey ones, we've already done integrations and partnered with those companies to have that flow of work already happen for you. So depending on if your company that you're working with has already has one of these platforms or needs to do a custom integration, These open APIs that are freely available, as well as their software development kits, become yours and theirs to use to make that automatic connection from upstream into your SiteFlow platform. So really quick and easy, and typically is done within a matter of hours or days to be able to make that connection happen. Do you have a few resources on your team to be able to look at API documentation?
Absolutely, but one of the challenges I also have there is there are folks that actually work on multiple positions, so they maintain our present workflow, all the different software and hardware, as well as the IT infrastructure, as well as maintain demands for new product adoption. Such as in this case. So one of the challenges is being able to get time with my developer to also help and improve our current workflow.
Well, that's a very good point, absolutely. And that's a lot of some of the feedback we get from our customers as well. And the nice thing is those APIs and that software development kit enables a quick turn to be able to make that integration done from an upstream system. But as you pointed out, making that connection is just one piece of the puzzle. What you also have to commonly look at is when those orders are coming in, what are the other systems that I have to integrate with? I've got a billing system, I have an imposition system, I have to do pre-flighting, I have to do some sort of barcoding for track and traceability. And the list of interconnectivities kind of grows and grows and grows. And really what SiteFlow allows our customers to do is have a pre-integrated system and be able to provide a complete end-to-end platform from getting all of your work in and out the door in an integrated way. So once that connection is done to the upstream platform, as you can see in this example, orders are automatically coming in. We're automatically fetching those assets from those URLs. We're looking at the individual order data about who sent it in, where it needs to be shipped to, how it needs to get there, and when it needs to be there by, as well as confirming and pre-flighting that the asset is valid, as well as doing any file or batch level imposition needed to be able to produce this for you, all without anyone touching it and based upon a simple product definition of how you want to produce this specific product for this specific client. So a lot of highly automated tasks take place once those orders are coming in and we've made that upstream connection. You mentioned about, how do I add things like barcodes or job sheets or header cards? Well, SiteFlow inside of itself has that automatically built in. So whether you want to have an inline job sheet that allows you to have that barcode and track and traceability and a visual indicator of what I'm doing, and also if you want to sort of grouping and batching these like things together, SiteFlow automatically provides these types of job sheets and header cards that allows you and your team to quickly track and trace all of the items throughout your factory to make sure they're done on time, every time.
Excellent. That's excellent, because that's, as I mentioned, one of the challenges is certainly getting the best use of the resources that I have. And I have a lot of great experts, been in graphics for a long, long time, and I would really like to be able to allocate them to other more important activities than doing simple tasks and repetitive tasks that that eats up their entire day. So this is excellent to see.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we've seen is that you have these highly valuable resources, but they are they're not infinite. So you want to be able to put them to high value tasks, and taking these repetitive pre-press type tasks off their plate to be able to have them concentrate on more value added services is definitely a key value add that SiteFlow is able to provide.
Now, one of the things that I run into as well is we're, a mid-range shop, so many of our folks wear multiple hats within the production life cycle. And what I struggle with is maintaining a high level of communication between those departments, but also helping them to maintain focus on the tasks that they're meant to complete. And all of this in accordance with a high variety of different SLAs that I have for my customers. So how would SiteFlow help me with that?
That's a great question. So one of the nice things about SiteFlow is its batching capability. So automatically inside the platform, we're going to start looking at like attributes or like production properties, if you will. We're going to start grouping those like things together and start building physical batches of work to be able to move through your facility. So if today you're doing hundreds of jobs a day, or maybe moving to thousands of jobs today, you really need the ability to start managing at an aggregate level and not at the individual job level and having to touch each one of those. So once we move to this batch level type work, SiteFlow automatically groups those like things together. And here's an example of 26 of these individual posters. This may have come from 26 different customers with 26 different ship-to addresses, but SiteFlows looked at that order data coming in and grouped all of these together based upon these like attributes. So now what we're able to do is move these 26 different items throughout my entire factory as one physical unit, and then at the end of shipping is where they get dispersed into the end shipping addresses of where they need to be. What you're looking at here is a very simple UI. It really is the first time your operators need to interact with a job, which in this world is a batch. So here I'm looking at these 26 different items all grouped together. It clearly lets me know when this batch is due, when it's due out the door outside of this event, how many minutes it's going to take to produce it, and what type of substrate and other events are involved. Automatically, what would happen, either this batch gets sent to my device for production, or I can simply select as an operator which one I'm interested in doing and send that down to the appropriate device for production. In this particular case, I can pick my 12,000 and away I go. And what's nice here is after that batch has been printed, I'm simply going to scan this individual green sheet, which is the batch header card, basically letting me know all of the different parameters around the things of this batch and all of the different items that might be inside of it. So always keeping up to date as to where all these items are, where these batches live, and when they're due at the door. By scanning that barcode, it simply tells my operator where to move this batch to next, and all 26 of those items in this batch have also been updated. So now it's going to move over to the guillotine cut station, and at which point I'm going to move over and change hats over to the guillotine cut operator. And here you can see I have a whole slew of batches that need to be done. And it's once again ordered on when I should do them, how long it's going to take to do each one, and all the different unique parameters of each one of these batches. So as you can see, I have batches of varying sizes, varying shapes, and various product lines. So as a diverse application as you are, and all your general commercial print products that you offer, SiteFlow is able to help narrow those down into buckets, if you will, of work to be able to quickly and easily manage a large amount of work in a very, very short amount of time. One other thing to add here about kind of looking at your orders and when they're coming in is key leading indicators at the top right hand of my screen. So as an operator, not only do I know what's currently due on my screen here and the order I should do them, but it also lets me know of how many are incoming from other events, how many are currently due today, how many I've done, and the hours worth of work that represents. So handoffs between shift becomes easier, communication between different events become a lot easier, and I'm always maintaining that all of my orders and items get out on time every time. Questions on that?
No, that's great. I see it as a great way to organize the tasks for my different departments. And it's certainly useful for each of the operators between shifts or whatnot to quickly come up to speed on what is necessary in the proper order to be able to produce, to keep things on track, meet our SLAs, which can be very demanding for a lot of our customers. One question I have, coming from a more of a management perspective, is understanding the entire, taking a look at the entire workflow and getting a sense of not only what level of activities and that I have for my production, but also being able to pull maybe even some analytical data to understand where potential bottlenecks may rest and where I can actually address them and basically optimize my workflow.
Absolutely. So one of the nice things about SiteFlow is that it is device agnostic. So while we do work quite well with HP branded kit, if you will, we obviously realize that there's more than one manufacturer of devices out there. So whether it's a competitive device or a finishing device, what have you, SiteFlow is able to send work to it and manage and track the production of those batches against those devices themselves in a nice screen like this. So what you're looking at here is our overall schedule across our entire print facility. On the left-hand side is our devices and the status of our devices. And as those batches are being created, we're simply scheduling these batches against the speed and feeds of those devices to be able to make sure they're on time every time. Color coding it nice and easy for different visual indicators as to where I am in the life cycle, and allowing my operator and production management staff to quickly determine when these are due out the door and where any sort of bottlenecks may lie. What's also quite nice about the platform is the ability to turn off and on the status of these devices. So should one of these happen to go down or need some maintenance on it, I can simply highlight the individual device itself and turn that off. And SiteFlow will then start pre-planning and moving those batches against other devices automatically to be able to help production get out the door quickly and easily. So all of this is quite nimble and quick and always live up to date, as you're constantly getting orders 24/7, and we're automatically building batches 24/7 So we need to be able a scheduling platform and an apps and a workflow system that enables you to be quick and nimble to meeting your clients' SLAs.
And that's what we're all about here at Fantastic Print. So this is an extremely helpful tool for that.
You know, one of the things also that comes into play here is, of course, as we're getting this work in through different brands and different types of product mixes, that we need to get it out the door in the right package at the right time with the right amount of items at the right time to be able to get this back to the end user that ordered it. And here's where our shipping and reconciliation area comes into play. So while we can automate everything in the factory so far as much as possible, once we've cut all those batches down into the individual products, we need to ship them back to the individual user. So back earlier in the platform, I know I mentioned the barcoding system where we have these individual barcodes put up on our job tickets and or putting barcodes on the product themselves. And once those batches are now cut down into the individual items, we need to reconcile them back together and put them in the right packaging. And by scanning that barcode, SiteFlow is simply capturing the individual item and order detail, providing a visual indication of to what that piece of work is in front of them, and grouping them into bins or pigeonholes for those operators to be able to group all of these things back together in an order to be able to ship it out the door. We're also capturing the weight and the cost, should customs be need to be captured here, what the order ID is, the actual ship to address, and any sort of unique details here. We're also allowed to be able to capture types of packaging. So should you want to have branded packaging for some of your brands or generic ones, SiteFlow automatically assigns those for you, lets you know how many boxes you need and how many things need to go in each one of those boxes to complete this shipment. Once all of these items are individually scanned, these orders go green, and then we would make an API call to the FedEx, UPS, DHLs of the world, capture that tracking information, print off the right amount of labels for the right amount of boxes, and then automatically send a post back to the upstream brand systems saying that, hey, this order has been shipped, it's on its way, and here's that tracking number. So not only can we automate the upstream pre-press, batching, imposition all the way through the factory world, what we've also done is automated the communication, the label production, the tracking information capturing back up to that brand as well as through the shipping carrier to generate those labels in the first place. So the brands are always up to date as to where their items and orders are, and your team in production is always up to date as to where these orders need to be and what's been completed.
Oh, that's amazing, because communication I see as a key, but being able to knit all of these different activities together and work in concert is actually absolutely essential to build that top line revenue, which is really my goal. It's the thing that haunts me each and every day. But as you walk me through all of this all the different tools within the SiteFlow solution, it reminds me of my current system where I have many different IT systems in work. So it's really challenging for me to maintain the equipment, the hardware, the software, all the different third-party vendors that I have to do to complete all these different tasks, such as shipping integration or even the pre-press functionality. And sometimes I feel like I'm more of an IT company than less of a print company. I'm curious, how does SiteFlow scale to meet my business demands as I start to grow?
Well, that's an excellent question, and rightly so. I mean, a lot of our customers, before coming into the SiteFlow world, have a number of bespoke solutions that they're stitching or knitting together and requiring their own resources to kind of make that communication happen. I think as you saw on the platform today, everything is pre-integrated out of the box. So shipping's integrated with imposition, with barcoding, job sheeting, with pre-flighting, you name it, as well as tied into that order API. So you can have a one-stop shop to be able to handle all of your needs in there. With that, as well as with it all running in the cloud, there is no special hardware to get. There's no servers locally you need. There's everything's infinitely scalable running off of our platform. So as your business needs grow, so does SiteFlow automatically in the background. There's actually nothing for you to do. As the increase in orders and increase in demand come to your facility, SiteFlow scales beautifully in the background and allows you to meet those needs without any additional capital cost.
Excellent.
Really, the only thing you need here is a few barcode scanners, a couple of terminals to view a web page, and a label printer to be able to print out those labels, and some hardware to make the printing happen.
That is great. Kirk, thank you so much for taking me through this. How could I get more information on this if I'm interested in getting more details?
Well, that's a great question, Pat. Absolutely. So we have a number of ways to get in contact with us. We have a website here at the bottom of the page. We also have an email address. You can shoot us an email, and the local representative in your community would be more than happy to reach out and set up a further one-on-one demonstration. Nice thing about that website as well, we've got some videos on there, some customer testimonials, as well as a number of brochures you can download and read more about all the different things that our solutions platform have to offer.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Kirk. This has been really eye-opening for me, and it basically excites me to the possibilities of being able to get more work in my shop, be able to quickly and efficiently be able to produce that work, and also no fear of being able to scale to meet the needs of demanding customers, but also new customers that I'll get on a daily basis. Thank you so much for taking the time with me.
Absolutely, Pat. Pleasure's all mine, and wish you the best of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just about to say that I'm sight flown away, but that is maybe a little cheesy, isn't it? It's I'm almost speechless, which doesn't happen so often to me, to be honest. I think it was a great way to have this role play in presenting SiteFlow, and I must say that when I see that presentations, I do understand why both you and Tim are so into this, because this for sure, and I mean, it gives so many advantages. And one of the questions I can't help think about is that one thing is the technical side. If you say that everything is like browser based, how do you connect the devices? Is that IoT, or do you have a server where you connect? Also, because I understand with the print OS, and I understand that when you have HP branded equipment, that you have them connected, yes. but you also have integration with a lot of other types of equipment. So how do you actually do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, one of the points that Kirk made in the demo there was that we're completely agnostic. So it's nice if you're producing on HP kit, but it's not critical. We've got customers around the world using Canon, Xerox, Heidelberg, you name it. We can send jobs to them. 200 million items manufactured on our platform in the last 12 months in 30 countries around the world. So there's hundreds and hundreds of brands now being manufactured on a large variety of kit. We send jobs via JDF, we send jobs via XML, we drop jobs into hot folders, and we integrate with devices in a whole host of different ways. All that's required on the factory floor is a browser.
But I was more thinking that let's say that you have a Horizon binder and you need to send data to it, for example, right? Then first of all, you have the job ticket. That could be JDF that is shot to the device, of course. But as far as I understand from the presentation, you also get like feedback from the equipment, whether it's turned on, whether it's producing, and that is some of the questions that we spoke to both the Bobs and Tech Now, and also to a couple other people. I also gave a presentation on IoT, and I was just like that is the kind of connectivity that you see that you need to get that production data back to actually plan your productions efficiently, right?
I think for many print service providers, that's the goal.
Yeah,
but the practical reality is that they often don't have those devices today. The large portion of print service providers, they don't have those devices today. And how are they driving them? Then it's either manually with an operator or it's using barcodes.
Totally fine. That was just my question, because I was just like, okay, so you have invented the magic trick to how to connect the non-connected devices.
We did that as well. Don't get me wrong, but there's not a silver bullet.
A question I also came to mind when I saw your presentation was, if you look at today's print operation, I think that I always tell the story that if you look at a family-owned printing company of a medium size, 30 people, 40 people, 50 people employed like 15, 20 years ago, a majority of the people working on the shop floor, right? And a few people in sales and administration. Today, it seems that everything is like computers, administration, pre-press, and a few people on the production floor, right? And I was just wondering if with the analysis that you can get from PrintOS and what you can also get from what SiteFlow can do here. I was just wondering, how important do you think it is for business today to be to having this overview in relation to monetize from? I mean, let's say we have printer A here who has an HP 12,000 not connected, and we have another 12,000 here that's connected. How big difference is it in productivity?
I think from our perspective, we've taken a holistic view to workflow production management because for many print service providers, you can't just look at point problems that you've got, and a lot of the vendors, you know, and a lot of the print service providers, that's what they tend to do. They say, "Oh, we've got a problem with pre-press, so we've got a problem in finishing."
Pushing the blame on somebody else, right? Yeah,
moving the problem around. And what we've tried to do is, you know, for the cost of a single IT developer. That's just the entry point, at least. We make a system available that automates that complete life cycle end to end. So we look after the file ingest, we look after the pre-press, the pre-flighting, the scheduling, the imposition, getting jobs to devices, look after all your finishing events. Oh, and we're also integrated with all the major carriers at the back end as well. So for your average print service provider that has 60% of their costs post-press, actually just looking at pre-press as a point problem or point solution is not going to fix it. You have to look at the end-to-end life cycle of jobs. There's three key drivers basically for change. The first one is around helping print service providers reduce their production costs. How do I squeeze more from the people that I've got and potentially either free them up to be redeployed or find out other innovative ways of reducing costs there. But the second key driver is around getting connected to more customers. So,
yes.
You know, and that's where our API comes in, and that's where we can help reduce the cost of sales.
And that was, to be honest, maybe also what you emphasized a little bit less in this presentation compared to our conversation a couple of weeks ago, right? Because I think that what people should understand from your solution is that it's an entire ecosystem. So it's like how customers can integrate their demands and needs, not just to the one PSP, but also to multiple PSPs, right? So if let's say that you're a global brand and you need to have some consistency in how you produce and how you deliver, you can set up different PSPs and make sure that you're using the same kind of workflow in how you distribute file and orders, right?
Absolutely, and that's at the very center of our solution. So, you know, all of the major print brands, Photobox, Simpress, Vistaprint, Pearson, Kellogg's, you know, you name it, they've connected to our platform and they're sending jobs to a network of print service providers. And we've also got some print service providers that are sending jobs to other print service providers. Connect once to a single API gateway, and then you can route traffic out to many. That's the principle. But the third key driver that I just want to touch on, if I may, is about reducing overall IT expenditure. Yes. Because what we've taken a fresh look to pricing and infrastructure costs, especially over the last 12 months, and we've completely rebooted and made the SiteFlow solution much more cost effective. Because from my perspective, we're achieving phenomenal growth rates for print jobs for our print service providers that come on board. They typically start with one integrated brand. Many now that have been working with us for 2-3 years, they've got 40, 50 brands. So they'll start with 100 orders a day. And some of our print service providers are now doing 50, 60, 70,000 orders during a peak day.
You mean only 50, 60, 70,000?
And that's all on exactly the same solution. So it doesn't matter if you're taking your first baby steps, or alternatively, you're an extremely high volume producer. We've got a solution that can scale with you, and you have to view this as tech being the solution. It's the only way you're going to get transformation. It's the only way you're going to change.
How difficult is it being an HP branded solution in relation to getting non-HP customers as customers for SiteFlow? Because I mean, I think that looks awesome, but I also sometimes think that people have, there's so many offerings in the market, maybe not directly competing with your solution and in that sense, but so many solutions. So I was just thinking that, okay, I have chosen a Xerox platform. Why should I go to HP to get my software, right?
Well, we as I said earlier, we're completely agnostic. So each week we're getting contacted by print service providers. I mean, at the moment we're onboarding one doing mugs and phone cases, another one doing Cornette, direct to garment, because we have to provide solutions to brands.
Yeah.
Because we want to be able to grow a brand community, print buyer community, as well as a print service provider community. And that's how we're going to get growth across the whole industry.
And that is also one of the things I like about the HP approaches, because I mean, you have always been very committed to build communities with D-Scoop is one example. Now we talk about brand communities, and I think that you have an extremely strong. I think you have an extremely strong brand in the printing industry. So obviously, HP, you will. I think that a lot of people will look your way. But I was asking from the perspective of saying that, if I have a Komori offset printing machine, I would probably not easily go to Heidelberg and ask for a Prinect solution, even though it could work, right?
And that's what we've got to change. That's one of the why we're having this conversation today, isn't it?
Okay.
Create awareness that
cool.
There is a solution out there.
That's great.
And we can help.
That's great. Chris, I think you were a pretty good replacement of Tim, I must say. So also because I got the opportunity to talk to you a couple of weeks ago, and I think that people should go and see the Skype session. I really enjoyed the conversation we had, and I know that quite a few people seen it because the HP was so generously sharing it on all your social media. So also, thank you very much for your support here. I hope that, as I say to all my guests, that we will see each other in real person at some point after the COVID-19, and I also hope, honestly, to be, to learn more about PrintOS and SiteFlow and the solutions you do. I think it's really interesting. So thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to participate. Appreciate it.
Always. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
So how are you, my friend?
Fine, thank you. How are you? Great show.
You like it? You like it?
I like the let's say the surrounding and the setting of that. It's cool. It's let's say a little bit yeah, not so stiff as we know. We are talking about technology, all this stuff, and all the CEOs coming and introducing their company, and this is learning from each other. It's good.
You know, when I asked you to participate, you and I, for the people who don't know you, you are Alec Jason Basuband, and you are from United Printers or Print24. And we met each other in Norway a couple of years ago, right?
Yes, Morten, I hear myself all the time. Is it?
Well, I'm sorry for the. Can you hear me? It is so crazy. This is the first time for a whole week that the platform.
I can.
You cannot hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Great. But what I heard is a record of us that from the conversation 10 seconds ago. So I heard it as a loop again and again.
Maybe you have another browser window open with the.
No. That's it. Okay. But I got an extra call from you, and then then it was like this. But don't worry about that. So
but we have it. Yeah, we met each other in Norway a couple of years ago, and
yes.
I was. I think it was a great conversation. First of all, the site was great, but what I really liked about our conversation is that you have. In my opinion, a great openness to talk to people, and you are very open about your business. And I think that's kind of the new thing of how we work with each other. Or what
yeah, do you think? I think, you know, if you start hiding things and you have to have some secrets, or we cannot talk about this topic and this issue, then you are not confident enough that the way that you are going, it's just right. And I am very confident that the way that we are going, or I am going with my team, I don't like everything that we do, but there's a direction that we are going, and it's right. So I'm very open to share the thoughts and all this stuff, because I know that the path is so long, and so, you know, there are so many obstacles in the way. It's not so easy, you know. If you do something easy, better not talk about it. Somebody could try to copy that and be better than you, but it's a long path. And
it's kind of funny that you mentioned this, because I saw a couple of years ago, I think it was a TripAdvisor that where there was a guy in the UK. He wanted to make a little bit a fool out of TripAdvisor. And he did it in the way that he started posting reviews about a non-existing restaurant.
Yeah.
And every time people called to get a table there, it was impossible, because that was totally full. And then after some years, it got like ratings that people has never been there, rated as the best restaurant in London. And it was like a kind of an outdoor restaurant. So there was in a junkyard, more or less, on the top of a very small house. He started to prepare the food that people could finally get a table, and that was like bouvet and, you know, finished ready food and then it's served in nice tables, and everybody was like, "Oh, so fantastic,
so great!"
So
yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah, that's how it goes. You need, and especially with us in our business, you need to see. Some of the presenters said it before. I think it was the Canon guys. You need to see where you are, and if you can stay like this, or if you have to change and move. And we can only, because, you know, we are not the prettiest, sexiest guys in the world. We have to change. Yeah, no. We don't live in Denmark. Yeah.
No, that's true.
We have to change constantly, and we have to go in different directions and change our side view constantly. And everything which was correct and right years ago is now totally wrong, and everything which was wrong, it's now right. So you cannot stay still on one side. The problem is to get the organization. You know, you could be prepared for that, but you have to also, you know, make everybody else prepared, and they will think about you and say, hey, yesterday you said that, today you say this, what is right and what is wrong. You heard about this all the time.
Oh yeah. Okay, but
so how was your week in general now?
It's actually been very good. You know, to be honest, now you're the last one here, and right now, because we had this little break,
there's nobody attending, you know.
No, but there is on the YouTube live, there is attending people, so I can see that. I'm just trying to figure out. So I just posted on LinkedIn the link again, so people could come and listen to us. Otherwise,
join,
we will,
we just continue.
Because we have it also, so we can use it for the replays. But to do these kind of events is I don't know how much you followed us, but that is pretty new, because the way that we normally do films is camera crew go to the printing companies, talk to the people in the printing company, show the production, and, you know, get the vibe of the presses and the applications and the business cases. And we have been in, Jan and I have been in, I think we have made more than close to 600 films now. So we have been in printing companies in Japan, in China, in Middle East, in Europe, and in America, of course. So we have seen a lot of things. And then this pandemic came, and then it was like, okay, should we just lie down and die, or should we figure out to do something else? And I think that we did something called Over the Skype a couple of weeks ago, where we were like having chats like this one, in not live, but in a recorded, Over the Skype we called it, and then came up the idea with Learn With Us. And I can tell you that we are now planning, which was an idea we got yesterday. We're now planning to do like a webinar kind of thing, where we call it like web to print battles.
Yeah, cool.
So you have like just imagine
something for me.
I know you're not the supplier, but it could be fun to talk to the vendors as well as the suppliers. Now, I was thinking about the software, because we spoke to a couple of web to print suppliers here on this session. So and I think that the idea could be to have like, now they have 1.5 hours to present their software, and then the next guy presents it, and then the next morning we ask them to ask questions to each other. So we get like,
how did you solve this problem?
maybe on a different
problem.
level, but yeah. And I thought it was great, because it would be you know, basically what I'm saying is that we try to say that we cannot just lie down and die. We have to do what we do, because this is in our DNA. And I think that again, referring back to the interview I did with you, was the kind of openness and the way that we share information and knowledge is the way I think this industry can develop into something that is positive. One thing, however, I might not remember very well, but I have also a brain as an elephant, because you said to me in Norway that there were like different levels of web to print. You remember acceptance of web to print, and you said that the Scandinavian, they were not as high level as the Germans in understanding how web to print companies can work together with ordinary printers, right?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I feel it every you know, the buzzword before COVID. Yeah, I feel it everywhere where I'm traveling. You know, that my work is as one of 4 MDs that we have in the company for sales, and I'm responsible for our clients and their needs. And the best thing I can do is to talk with them face to face. And I learned that it's also possible to do it like this, via WebinarJam or Zoom or Hangout or other, I don't know what kind.
So many annoying platforms.
Annoying. Yeah, so many annoying platforms that do not work. But that's okay. But face to face is better, and wherever I go, I see different reactions. You know, we have mature when we are talking about outsourcing or giving away jobs to a vendor, to somebody who could probably do this job, because I don't have the machine, etc. We saw before how the software can work, like HP did it. Great.
Awesome,
I think great tool. I think a great tool. It's a pity that we had to do it ourselves a couple of years ago. Yeah, we should only wait a couple of years and we could then buy the software. That would be better. But
or maybe developed it and sold it to HP, right?
Oh, then you don't know our owner.
That's true.
It's just everything is mine. But it's okay. You know, we are used to develop things our own, because sometimes we think a little bit crazy, and the market is not prepared for that. And we ask like 4 questions, and if we get from 3 questions, oh, it's not possible, but we have to see and develop it, and then thoughts stop, and we don't want that the thought stops. And we want that we wanted to, for ourselves, in 2 ways. We wanted for ourselves also to expand international more and more and more. We did it in the very, very first period of our company lifetime, that we went out. And today, half of our orders come from international countries, and the other half comes from Germany. It's a little bit different situation that we have from the other bigger online printers. That let's say, for instance, Fly Alarm, the majority of their orders, massive orders they have, is in Germany. And some make fun and say it's only around Würzburg. And so we are 5 times bigger in France than they are. It's just
really?
But in total, we are the smallest of the top 5. The Gallian little city where Asterix and Obelix is, and we try to let's say kid with the other suppliers and competitors a little bit around. But we have our marketplace. So
but I think that one of the things I follow you quite intensively, because I think that, as you mentioned, being part of the 5 biggest European online printers is one thing, but there's also a quite different strategy compared to those, right? Because you are. I asked you to join this session to talk about outsourcing of print, but basically you have, since we met, you have become a company that is sourcing yourself, right?
Yes, that's the goal I wanted to put through, is that of the levels of acceptance of web to print, I believe that we as a company, we are now on the highest level of acceptance of web to print, because first of all, you have to accept that you don't need to produce.
That's true.
And this is, for a printer, this is a long way. And if you go outside, if I talk to clients, which 1/3 of them are printers, if I go and talk to them, and they want to print, and they don't want to outsource their jobs. But there is a time that they buy a new machine, let's say Inkjet machine, and then they have to get rid about a special sort of their commercial print, and then they need a vendor. And as long as you release yourself in the thought that it could be interesting that somebody else print in the name of you, then you are, I think, on the winning place. Everybody has to decide if he makes a hybrid solution or completely outsourced, because the asset, I always say, is not the machine. It's your standing and your your know-how in this.
But you know, one of the I totally agree with you on that one. But I can't help think of your colleague Hello Print, for example, because they are in a situation where they also source their production, but they don't have like assets, like machine assets that you own, because maybe you don't have like a printing company, but you still own printing equipment that you put with your suppliers, right?
Yes, but this is just a number of accounting sheet.
Okay.
So
that is not part of a more.
Yeah, but this is the different about HelloPrint and we is that they started this model from the very beginning, and they had a very good approach over sales to their customer, not over nice products. Yeah, they don't define themselves that they have the best printing quality, or the red is redder and the blue is bluer than the other one. They make another feeling, and they understood the direct market, let's say, in this case.
And they grow pretty fast, right?
They grew pretty fast, but unfortunately not so pretty profitable. But the profit
Seems
comes
that they
with
have some problems these days. I must say that you see when you look at the press, that is it's not so much in favor of them right now, and it's kind of funny because I think it's the same private equity firm that owns online printers, basically, that own HelloPrint.
Yeah. Of course, I don't want to say things that might bother some investors, but yes, I commented very aggressively. Yes, see that. on the print week review website that made the announcement. I saw that first on the print week website. I commented. You if you want to read that,
I will.
Please,
sure.
Please read. And this is honestly my my opinion about that, because I am really fed up of companies coming from along. We have another ones in Portugal. The 360 in Premiere. So they suck around venture capital. And mess up with everybody, and I don't want to say that HelloPrint is in that way. I have a deeply respect about the colleagues that do these things, but without profit, someday you are gone. Yeah, and this is nobody will had forwarded and saw this pandemic. But it's not an excuse. It's just always like this.
I think that is like these kind of discussions are important to have, because I think that I know that is not the agenda that we were going to talk about today, but I can't help thinking about that when also in Print Week, Heidelberg announced the loss of 343 million euros this week. I mean, first of all, it's a shitload of money, right?
Yes, and you have to know that they have brought back their pensions over 380 million or something.
Yeah.
With let's say the courts will see if this is the right way they did it, but if they wouldn't do that before, if they hadn't do that before, then the loss will be much more. Yeah, it's just and now the next quarter, the first financial quarter for them is coming. Yeah. April, May. Yeah. And this is gonna be very interesting. So the next one. So so when the topic goes like outsourcing the production,
you're number one.
No, we started as a pure producer in the very beginning of the or end of the 90s. So that's why still our website looks like a tax declaration, because form, because people, the companies that we approached were professional print buyers, and these professional print buyers made us big. So it was a little bit controversial to see how people always, you online printers, you make the markets shrink and the prices are down, and so. But they bought. 1/3 of our customers are printers. That's it. We have to see it like this. And they are smart printers because they concentrated on the thing that they can really do good. And this is, let's say, they produce stickers like hell, and labels for the brewery industry, or I don't know what, or labels for disinfection bottles. They going to the roof right now. I talked to somebody that produces labels for disinfection bottles. He asked me if I could send him like, you know, McDonald's was sending out employees to Starbucks or something, I don't know, or somewhere else, sent them employees because they could not arrange the production, and our probably were in short work, yeah. And so, and the rest of the things that the customers ask them, because they are a printer, you know, customers wake up and say, I need a banner, and who could do that? And then they go to their printer, who already only prints since 10 years only labels, but they don't care. Customers don't care. They don't know what kind of machine they have and what their specialized is. Yeah. So, and if you're smart, you have a vendor. There are lots of vendors. You have a vendor you can choose, and they will send out neutral production. They will send out neutral delivery notes. They will send out with your name and your sender address, and they will have a good quality with a very reliable price. And the best thing about that, and you have to be assured if something happens, and it happens all the time. Yeah, we have a claim rate. It's 2%, but it means 2,000 claims a month. Yeah. The delivery is not coming, this edge is broken, the color is not red enough, and I don't know what, you know, it's not even 2%, but it's 2,000 claims. Yeah? Somebody has to deal with that. And if you have a vendor who always said, can you give me a picture or two, or can you spread it out and give me like how much percentage? And so if you want to do that with a reseller that is dealing with his customer, then you have lost in this game. We believe that, yeah.
I've tried it because it was only at January this year that we stopped being a print broker, because that was basically what initiated our business and financed INKISH for the start. So I know, and I know exactly what printing company you're talking about. How with the
no, we were 5 years ago the same, yeah.
Okay,
we were the producers. We were the producers, and we were protecting our production. Like if somebody came and said this is wrong, and we said, okay, let's check the file first, yeah.
Okay, yeah. But that my point was that I thought you were thinking about somebody, and I don't care who it is. It could be you. But my point was that if you, as a reseller, work with a printing company and you don't have these things kind of sorted out, then you jeopardize your customer's business. Because if you, I mean, you know, if I send you a PDF that has already been pre-flighted and I know that is correct, and then you fuck it up, then it's basically like, how can I be the one to blame for that, right?
Yeah, and your customer, your customer might know that things happen, you know. It could be that your customers are also professional in a couple of ways, like marketing departments and all the stuff.
Designers,
but we see also direct customers in the, let's say, in the industrial sector or in the commercial sector, who do not know that we are dealing with living materials like paper and water and ink and sun and moon and everything. When the wind is blowing from the left,
I think you just took every consideration.
Yeah,
sun, moon,
sometimes it's like this. You know, everybody has their standards, and in the printing industry there is also a printing standard. But you know what? We are now working with more than 60, 70 vendors. And if I spread one PDF around 10 and all of them are great, this result will not look the same.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Yeah.
Regardless of technologies and
regardless of this is just you know that you're an expert, and this is what we have to deal also. I think it's all about trust. If you outsource your production to somebody who produces, we do this also more and more and more. Of course, the first steps, we put the machines inside because we had them and we wanted to assure the special quality. And you know that if you also give a vendor volumes about 1 or 2 million euro, he does not have the staff. So and he will not get the staff from the market. So you don't have to put only the machines inside. You have to put the staff also inside to do it. That's what we did. So we asked our staff, apply for a job in Berlin, in Munich, I don't know, in UK, in Italy, in France, or I don't know what. Yeah. So it was weird, but it was a funny and very important way that we outsourced our production in that.
So I have a question, because as you said, you're origin from being a traditional printing company with machines and people and everything like that, and then you evolved to being one of the 5 largest online printers in Europe. Then you started to close your own productions and facilitate more vendors as subcontractors. And though you are now contracting, I think you said that all offset production is now contracted, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just thinking that though that you are now contracting on this thing, you still offer services that are relevant for other printers to buy from Print24, right?
Of course. Of course, you know, the contracting, that makes completely sense, because if you find somebody who can, you know, in the automobile industry, they do it since 20 years. Yeah? Volkswagen does not mandatory buy these suspicion or some screws or something within the company and their huge concern. They sometimes they buy somewhere else because they find somebody who is cheaper and better than you can produce it by your own, and then you have to, yeah.
But I was more thinking from the perspective that if you, let's say that if you have a manufacturing yourself and you have an overcapacity that you want to utilize, maybe you could have an interest in having a B2B or a white label solution or whatever you call it to other printers who can buy because you can produce it cheaper. I think that a lot of people can see that, okay, that makes sense because you have an overcapacity. But now I think that with United Printers and Print24, now it's the volume business and your efficiency in both distribution and cost of production that makes it attractive to work with you, because now you're not producing it yourself anymore. Now you still have a margin on it, but you still also offer a margin to your resellers, right?
Yes. Yes, this is and it goes both ways. Yeah, you don't know how many vendors and producers we found out who had products that were so fantastic that we could put it on the website to sell.
Knew about it.
Yeah, to sell. You know, we had no clue about that before. Everybody was searching for new products, etc. And then we were asking somebody, "Hey, can you do the flyers for us, for example?" Yeah, and then say, "Yes, I could do." But so what are you doing? Yeah, we're making, I don't know, card, you know, Eurocheck cards, plastic cards. Oh, great! Oh, is that the market? Yeah, we're just making, like, say, 50 million a year. Oh, yes. So why do not offering this thing on the platform from us and offering this to the 1 million subscribers of the newsletter that we have? Yeah.
So Print24 and United Printers, is that become more like I was just about to say kind of like an Amazon platform for print, where
it's also a little bit to you know, I am always somebody who wants to reach the sky, yeah. But yeah, we are in the morphing situation to be a platform-driven company with software. So you said that we are not a supplier of web to print. We are not now a supplier of web to print. We have
you have an invitation.
We have
to
30 developers. They are developing web to print software for our clients in all the stuff, which we will open for. That will be a United Print side flow, but not a side flow for production. A United Print web to print marketing platform, let's say, yeah, all the stuff. So we focused and we said, hey, there are so many very, very good producers. And if you assure the quality with a team, they're running around, they're visiting the vendors. If you assure the packaging, they're running around, and we have packaging guidelines that the packaging, they look the same, all the stuff, and they have to assure it. It's a daily business, and they have to do it all over and all over again. If you do that, everybody is satisfied. You know, nobody thought about that we could outsource more than 3,000 orders a day without having control on what we are doing. Yeah? And it's possible. You know, I came in January, first week to Radebeul, to our production, and there were no puffs and poofs and steam around, and still we were making money. Yeah. So so we said we want to focus on sales and software and platform. We want to bring best products on the platform with the best price, not with the best price, but with a reasonable price that the vendor can live and that we can live, and that we can offer that to our customers.
I think that every time people mention price, I think that what you really mean, I'm not trying to convince you differently, but I was thinking maybe what we do is saying that to create value to each other, right? Because if you're the producer of, let's say that you have to produce very low price in order for you to have a margin and your resellers to have a margin and to have reasonable prices in the market as well, then what you give them in return is volume, right? I mean, so
yes,
yeah.
and what is you know, everybody can give volume, yeah. When I give you a secret, and that's also something that I don't think that everybody does. What we give them, and which is also, we can see it as a threat, or you can see it as a chance. We decide to see it as a chance. Let's see if it works like this. We give him knowledge, because nobody can work these volumes on these prices that we want to have and need to have for the market without us telling them how to do it, which software they have to use. We provide them with that. We organize their production. We organize their, you don't know what we are doing to make them, and then they say, whoo, 20 years we are doing like this, and now we can do it like in this way, and then only then they earn some money. Yeah. So you can't do it. You can you can't do it another way around. You can't say I have volume and you organize your stuff yourself, and after half a year they get bankrupt. That's it. Period. And they have a problem. They will come to you back and say, oh, we need 10% more. We made all these mistakes ourselves. So there are lots of these models you can copy and give volume to somebody. But if you don't give him knowledge, and you don't give him software, if you don't give your knowledge that you have since 20 years, how to batch these things together and separate them again, and how fast it has to be, and all this stuff, then they will not earn money. So we try that they earn money. Yeah. Yeah.
And but would that mean that let's say that you have a partner, and your percentage of the total capacity is, let's just say that 40%, whatever, right? And then the 60%, then they actually also gain, because the knowledge that you share with them, I guess that also applies for all the normal productions they have, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And if we
one day, so it is a strong partnership.
It is a strong partner. That's what I said. So they can probably get jobs in what they do, and do these jobs what they get more efficient, much more efficient than they did before. This is I can name you 10, but they don't want to be named. So we were saying that there was a Stone Age production, yeah. So and then after that they felt good with the prices, and they make profit. And they make much more profit from the 60% you said they don't do with us. We are not we don't have any vendors that we put so much majority of orders inside. But for the 60% they don't do with us, let's say for example, they use their knowledge too and they are efficient too. Yeah. But in the way we help them to be as good as we are in the production wise, but they will never be as good as we are in the sales perspective, because we're running always ahead, and we hope that, and so the fields are.
But that also makes sense from being like having the platform perspective, right? That you kind of focuses on, okay, if we own the customer and how we market our products and services, and even the customer data, and then we have like a number of suppliers who benefit from your investment. Then you bring value to every part of the value chain, and I think that is maybe the conclusion, because we have to stop in a second. Just to let the people in the replay, because we seem to have some technical issues, but I checked that it does record. It's basically doesn't really matter whether you're a production company or a platform. What matters when it comes to outsourcing is that you build a relationship with your customers and your vendors, or suppliers, in a way where that percentage that you take still makes sense for all people involved, right?
It has to make sense for all people involved, and the customer needs to have trust that they treat him right, or the reseller needs to have trust that we treat his customer right without knowing that, and the vendors have trust us that we want to work with them over years and years and years. So we treat them as we treat our own production. You cannot suck out everything and go to somewhere else. And
it's short term anyway.
It's short term, and we don't see it as a short term. It was a long path that we came to this solution right now, and we have we can take this model and put it in other countries. UK, for example, nobody talks about the Brexit anymore. It's gone, but it's still there. So if they close it, we need to have production over there. We have great.
Yeah, I was just saying that the scalability that you have is fantastic. I think that also, if you look at it from your perspective, I think that you have a stronger position in relation to the COVID-19 than some of the people who have large operations to manage, right?
Of course, I don't say that large operations always are stone on the leg, but I think in these times. Half a year or 1 year ago, we had 350 people more on our payroll, and it is a voodoo prize that we should get. We don't have it right now. It makes a little bit much more comfortable to cruise in this situation than with a central production. And with a central production, how do you want to produce in Italy? How do you want to produce in? It takes 5 days parcel delivery to Italy, and you are, let's say, you are more expensive, and it takes a week longer. So you have to produce there.
Ali, Jason, final question. Being the 5th largest online supplier of print, what is the future? I mean, do you see a growth potential for you? I remember, maybe it was even you and I that spoke about that too, that maybe, or maybe it was Michael Fries, where we spoke about that maybe even this industry, online printing industry, needs consolidations. But are you still comfortable about Print24 and United Printers, and how you can see a potential growth for you?
It is a funny question, because I know that you know the answer, and you ask that to that I say it. A majority of the print is not online. We have to admit that. Even at the consolidations, the market online print, it's pretty consolidated. There's Thorsten Fischer with Flyer Alarm and Wolfgang Lerchel with United Print. That still is the founder is in the company. That's it. Everybody is gone. Else, all the Saxos and online printers, etc., private equity. And I think they lost a little bit blood, but still, as you see, also the Wehrmachendruck in the Print Brothers and Simpers, etc. They gain every year growth, not now, but it is a potential there. We are at the beginning, really, really at the beginning, and we see. I don't say we don't have any venture capital people inside that I have to say something about double-digit growth, but we grow every year, and we will grow next year 30%, I believe, because this year we shrank a lot. So
I think that is a great thing. It's like, okay, we increase the prices with 60%, and then we get
next
50%
year.
discount, right?
Believe me, next year everybody will say, "Hey, we're growing 30%,
Yeah,
35%," and etc. We will laugh, okay, because we think about this conversation today.
Of course we will.
But I wanted to say, 10, 15, maximum 20% of all the print that is done is made somehow online related. There are a lot of things that we can conquer, and we are still at the beginning. Everybody says that, and it is true. It is true. I see it in the products that we launched. We launched deck chairs to relax on that. We are making now, I think, 5,000 to 10,000 euro every week with deck chairs. It's 2 weeks online, and nobody has made marketing about that, but still the people are buying. So everything we do, in addition, it is falling on let's say nice ground, and we can
maybe says that everything that can go digital will go digital. Maybe we should rephrase that to everything that can go online print will be online printed.
Yeah, it is like this. It is like this, and the trust goes up to these pages, and that people know they can upload their PDF and everything is good. That's the first of the thing. And the products that used to be so complicated that nobody could print it online, and you need to have a consultation before and all the stuff, like books and I don't know, complicated products. They are now online. Everybody does it. It's no rocket science anymore. And you just have to show somebody how to do it, and then they do it and are happy and lucky.
Jason Basuband, Print24, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And appreciate your support, of course.
Of course, anytime we can have anytime interview again if you need to know the progress of our company and the market and how we see that. Okay, great.
I will take you up on that. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Bye.